part that they did not want to do, that I knew.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
I'm sure that you were aware of it. I talked to
Barnett, Barrett, Blackman, Blackwell, Blunt, Boyd, Branning, Bryan, Butler, Carter, Kaufman, Chazanel, Chisholm, DeBar, Delano, England, Fillingame, Frazier, Harkins, Hill, Hobson, Horn, Jacksonville 11, Jacksonville 32nd, Johnson, Jordan, Kirby, McCon, McDaniel, McLendon, McMahon, Michelle, Moran, Norwood, Parker, Parks, Pope, Seymour, Simmons of the 12th, Simmons of the 13th, Sojourner, Spark, Suber, Tate, Thomas, Thompson, Turner, Ford, Whaley, Wiggins, Williams, Witherspoon, Younger. Mr. President, a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will the senators please rise for the invocation given by Senator Parker, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Jordan. Senator Parker.
Thank you and good morning. First, I want to say today I want to wish a happy birthday to my son, Luke, who's turning 21 today. Got to call him this morning and congratulate him. But that kind of goes into a little bit about what I want to mention, and then I'm just going to have a brief prayer here. But in my short, I guess, 9+ years of being here in service, one thing I've had the opportunity to do with fellow senators is to kind of walk through the book of Proverbs. We've, during the session, several times kind of taken the time, take up a few chapters a week and look at that. And I found that book to me to be something inspirational and so applicable to what we do here in the Senate that I wanted to share just 4 verses with you. And chapter 16 in particular has been particularly useful to me. But Proverbs 16:3 says, this is a Message version, put God in charge of your work, then what you've planned will take place. Proverbs 16:7 says, when God approves of your life, even your enemies will end up shaking your hand. Proverbs 16:32 says, moderation is better than muscle, self-control is better than political power. And the last one I'm going to share actually sits on my computer screen at the desk that Senator Williams and I share. When I was there with Senator Lee years ago, we placed this verse I'm going to read you on that screen. I then left that seat, moved over just back behind Senator Hill for 4 years, and was pleased to see when I moved back to my original seat that it was still sitting there. And so Proverbs 16:33 says, make your motions and cast your votes, but in the end, God has the final say. So let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you first and foremost for the sacrifices that those that are here make, the sacrifices they make to be away from their family, the items and the things that they miss to do the work of the state and to try to make this state better. Thank you for teaching us of our ability to maintain self-control. This building and this chamber and the other chamber often try to teach us a different lesson, but in the end, you tell us that our self-control is something that we should cherish and we should utilize. And then finally, thank you for teaching us that in the end, you alone have the final say. Let us remember that as we go through our deliberations and as we finish out this session, and let us just do our best to remember everything you've taught us. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Senator Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senators. Now to the reading of the journal. Senator Blackwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the journal.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the journal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Message and petitions, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, there are none.
Thank you. Committee reports. Senator Blackwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the committee reports.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of committee reports. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next, the reading of the titles, bills, and resolutions. You're recognized, Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to dispense with the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the titles of bills and the resolutions. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Introduction of guest. Senator Simmons, you're recognized for introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, it's a pleasure to introduce the Doctor of the Day, a past president of the Mississippi Medical Association, Dr. Michael Mansour from Greenville, and his lovely daughter, Emily, who is a first-year medical student at the University of Mississippi. If you all would please make my two great constituents welcome.
Welcome, doctors. We're glad you're here. And Dr. to-be, we're glad you're here. Okay, other introductions. Seeing none, we'll move to the calendar. Item 1, Senator McMahon.
Good morning, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. I skip items 1, 2, 3, 4, ask that they retain their place on the calendar, and call up item 5, ask that the title be read.
Items 1, 2, 3, and 4 retain their place upon the calendar. Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 1479, City of Macomb, extend date of repeal on hotel motel tourism tax.
I make the usual motion.
The Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Senator, you're recognized.
This is a bill that came from the House of Representatives. There was no Senate companion bill. Senator Witherspoon's been working with me very diligently to get this bill to the floor. Yesterday, I received a letter from Senator Sojourner where she's supporting the bill as well and wants to have an up or down vote on it. So all this does is extend the date on the repealer for the hotel motel tourism tax. If there are any questions, I move for passage on the morning roll call.
Questions on the bill? Questions? Seeing none, the Senator has moved for passage on the morning roll call. Does anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Hill, no. Pardon me. Hill, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, let the record reflect it's unanimous other than the present for Senator Hill. Thank you, Senator McMahon.
Yes, sir. I move to item 25 on the calendar under motions to reconsider and call up the bill.
Items 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 will retain their place upon the calendar. Item 25, Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 1494, Walnut Grove, authorize Walnut Grove Correctional Authority to contract with the state to operate correctional facility.
My motion is to table the motion to reconsider.
Motion is to table the motion to reconsider. Any questions? Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator.
I'd like to skip down to item 32 on today's calendar, ask the other items retain their place on the calendar, and skip to item 32.
26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31 retain their place upon the calendar. Item 32, Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 3091, Lee County, authorize three-quarter sales tax and bond issuance for a specific project by county board.
My motion is to table the motion to reconsider.
Motion to table the motion to reconsider. Senator Sparks, you're recognized for what purpose?
I'd like to speak on the motion at the proper time.
You're recognized to speak on the motion at the proper time. Questions on the motion? Questions on the motion? Senator Sparks, you're recognized to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that you not table this motion. This is my motion to reconsider. I didn't play a lot of baseball growing up, but I understand there's a lot of unwritten rules. You don't deal with people's local and privates, and I try to honor that. But this is local and private that none of you have. It is a tax for the county. This is not a hotel and motel tax like the city of Boonville or the city we just passed for Witherspoon that most of us have. This is also a tax that has been represented as infrastructure, although the supervisors in Lee County have represented as a jail bill to the point that they have said, quoted in the paper, the same person who signed the resolution that was attached to this bill said if someone from Etowah County as much as buys a Coca-Cola in Lee County, they will be helping to pay for our jail. Now, I don't want to have a divisive situation here, but every senator in this chamber should have the opportunity to reach out to their supervisors to see if they want to sign an infrastructure unanimous consent to get 3/4 of a cent in your county to build a jail. The problem with Etowah County is I represent Etowah County, and I represent Tishomingo County, and I represent Prentiss County. I don't represent Lee County, but most of my people shop in Lee County. That's where they buy their clothes. I'd like to know, when we have the tax-free holiday for school supplies and clothes, are we still going to have to pay this tax? When you have a tax-free holiday for guns and ammo, we still going to have to pay this tax. This is simply not a tax opportunity that we have. And the other thing is, it's raising taxes. Let's call it what it is. To pay for a jail. And you know the other thing about the good people in Etowah County? Senator Bryan, Senator McMahon, and myself represent that county. They're currently in the process of building a jail. And they're building it the same way that the rest of you had to build it in your 80 counties. They have bonded for it, they've saved for it, and I don't think it is fair, and I think it is a jail bill, and I would ask that you do not table the motion. Thank you.
Anyone else to speak in the affirmative or the negative? Senator Hill, for what purpose? Speak on the bill.
I'd like to speak on the motion.
Please proceed. Are you affirmative or negative, Senator? Senator Hill, affirmative or negative?
I would rise to speak against the motion to table.
Okay.
And I want to explain to the body why. We all know that sales taxes are collected already in the counties across the state of Mississippi. Instead of raising the sales tax in one county for a jail or whatever, when this body looks at tax reform like we have all agreed that we would do, I think part of that tax reform needs to be looking at giving some of that sales tax that's collected in those counties back to those counties, just like we do for the cities. If we would give the counties back part of what they collect, we wouldn't be here discussing this right now. Counties have a lot of businesses outside of those municipalities that collect a lot of sales taxes. Right now, a bond is the only way that the county has to raise money, and they pay for that bond through raising your ad valorem taxes. We need another way for the county to finance its running of their operations outside of property ad valorem taxes. If we don't do something to put more money of that sales tax back into those counties, it's going to be to the point to where people aren't going to be able to, and people are already there. I hear people complain right now how high their taxes have gone in my county. So that's the point that I rise to make, is I think this is something that is unique, that none of us have. I agree with Senator Sparks on that. But to Senator McMahon's credit, those counties aren't getting any more of those sales taxes like they should be getting them back, just like the cities are. And I think we need to take a long, hard look at that. And that's what I have on my heart today about this.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone else to speak on the bill? On the affirmative, you're recognized for 5 minutes. Senator McMahon.
I'd like to close. First, I appreciate Senator Sparks' remarks, but if you read the bill, there's nothing in the bill that mentions anything about a jail. So, but to Senator Hill's passionate speech, I want to share something with this body before we vote. This year, I put a bill in called the Citizens for Economic Development Act, and it would have allowed every county in the state and every city in the state to vote at a general election for a 1% sales option. This right here could empower our communities to grow. I don't like to pay taxes any more than anybody else, but I don't mind paying a little bit of a tax, 3/4 of a cent or 1/4 of a cent for specific projects if the people have a right to vote on it. I will drop this bill again next year. If you would like to be on this bill, I would invite you to join me, and let's do something creative, something dynamic to help all of our cities and counties. But today, what's before you is a motion to table the motion for Lee County, Mississippi. And I ask you to vote aye.
Okay, we have a motion. Anyone else? Anyone else? All in favor, you've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no? No. I believe the noes have it. Senator McMahon, you're recognized.
I'd like to ask for a roll call vote, please.
Roll call.
Division.
We need 6. Please return to your desk, please. Everyone return to their desk. Everyone that wants the roll call, please rise. No, I'm sorry. Also, in favor of the division. In favor of the motion, please stand. We have 6.
Simmons, you up.
Derek is standing, he says.
Did Butler just stand up? He hadn't been standing up. I think he did. I did too, but then I saw Butler, I swear, stand up. Let me go back. 1, 2.
Senator Simmons, would you return to your desk, please? Would you return to your desk? Thank you, Senator. 1. Please be seated. Opposed, please stand. Opposed, please stand. (25 to 13), bill passes. 33, Senator McMahon.
I pass on the remaining items and ask that they retain their place on the calendar.
33 and 34 retain their place on the calendar. Thank you, Senator. And conference items 35 to 107. (35 to 107). In conference finance, 108 through Senator Bryan, 121, 130, 138, down to 139. In conference approach, 140 to 145. All of these retain their place upon the calendar. We go to 146. Senator Wiggins. Senator Wiggins, you are recognized. We're on 146. All previous retain their place on the calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Go to item 146, call that up, ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 87, MDHS fraud investigators, provided they should be law enforcement officers.
Make the usual
Senator
motion.
makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the conference report before you. Just to refresh your memory, this was asked for by the Department of Human Services and the director. This is coming in the wake of the really the fraud stuff that happened at DHS. Have worked with Commissioner Tyndall as well as the director, Bob Anderson, on this, and everybody's in favor of the conference report. And what you have is, what it does is it creates a investigator as the chief officer of the fraud division in DHS. And then with that, if you look at lines 32 down to 46, what that is doing is giving that investigator and that division the power to refer cases over to MBI to investigate. If you look at the language that specifically at lines 47, the fraud unit in DHS will not have statewide police power. That was an important issue for the Senate, and but they will work in concert with MBI and DPS. And so that's really what the conference report does. This will allow DHS to hopefully, and I think it will, prevent what happened in DHS and the fraud that got perpetrated there. And we've met with Director Anderson, who I will tell you I think is doing an excellent job, who is trying to get that agency in order to weed out certainly the fraud that we saw, so we don't see that again. And Commissioner Tyndall has been great on that. He's offered his help and his agency to assist in that. And so if we can pass this, to be honest, I think this is sending a message to anybody, and certainly in DHS, if not any other agency, that this body, the Senate, but also the legislature, is serious about getting at the fraud that people seem to want to perpetuate and commit when you're dealing with state funds and federal funds. So with that, Mr. President, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions on the motion?
Move for passage on roll call.
One moment. Senator Turner Ford, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Question.
Will you yield for a question, Senator?
I do.
Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if I raised this question when the bill was working its way through the committee process or on the floor, but the fact that we are giving these investigators law enforcement authority.
No, and I think that's a good question, because we are not giving investigators law enforcement authority. What we are giving is, if you look at lines 12, Director of Fraud Unit, who will be a law enforcement officer, but the investigators, they investigate, and what they have to do is rescind it over to MBI for investigation. So those investigators that they're having will not have the statewide law enforcement power, and that's in lines 47 and 48.
So, as the language appears at line 13, saying that each investigator within the unit shall be a law enforcement officer, does that mean that those individuals will have had to have completed training with the police academy or some sort of certification process?
Yes, they have to be certified and go through all that, the things that you have to do to receive that designation.
How will designating these officers or these individuals as having law enforcement authority address the fraud that was reported within the ranks of DHS?
So that's a good question. And first, before I get to that, let me say that language that you're looking at, that you highlighted, and this conference report reflects language that was submitted by both Director Anderson and by Commissioner Tyndall, which is a part of why I said that they're in agreement, which they are. To answer your question, Director Anderson has said by having law enforcement power I'm sorry, by having this fraud detection unit within DHS, that in and of itself is sending a message that that's not going to be tolerated. Second, and I'll put it this way, Director Anderson has come from the federal side of stuff in a lot of things. And in the federal side, they have what's called I think it's called Inspector General. And the Inspector General is the one responsible within an agency to investigate. And Director Anderson feels like, and I think I would agree with him, that by having this kind of an equivalent of an Inspector General, that they can get on top of any potential fraud before it happens and do that. And that was a problem that we had before, is the things that were in place were not being done. And so with this unit, he's able to do that and be proactive.
But had not the executive director been involved, the fraud could have been detected, isn't that correct?
I think that's a good question. And if I can put it this way, from the Inspector General side, on the federal side, they have authority to investigate the director. So I think what Mr. Anderson is getting at is, look, these people are within the agency to check the investigation. They can do it every single day. They're on there making sure that they're detecting fraud. And you're right, I think there's an issue with looking at that, but because they're law enforcement officers and certified, they have an obligation to the state and to their oath to investigate those who may be culpable where the evidence leads them, and that would include any director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Other questions? Okay, Senator, we're ready for your motion.
Move a passage on the morning roll call, Mr. President.
Senators move for passage on the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present. Seeing none?
Thank you.
Turner Ford, present. I'm sorry. Senator Horn, present. Senator Horn, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, passes by use of the morning roll call with 2 present votes. Mr. Clerk. 147, Senator Bryan.
I ask that the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 95, Nursing Home Administrators Delete, Repeal, or Unlicensure Requirements for an Authorized Board to Conduct Background Checks.
I move that we adopt the conference report, and I would like to speak in favor of the motion.
You're recognized to speak, Senator.
This year, the repealer for the Nursing Home Administrators Board came up. The House and the Senate passed slightly different versions of the bill. The bill deals with the following matters. The board has not had an increase in fees in quite some time. The fees that they charge are for a 2-year period. The existing law permits the fees to go up to $500. The Senate had voted to increase that amount to $600. The conference report provides for fees at $550. The Senate provided that the committee could do background checks themselves or have them done, and that they could charge the applicants for the cost of the background check. The House position was that no such charges could be made, and the conference report has a House position that the charges for this cannot be passed on to the applicants. I believe that the total amount of money we're talking about is a couple of $1,000s a year, maybe a little bit more. There's also a provision that a member of the legislature who is exempt from CLE. It extends the life of the agency. I believe it removes repealer. If there are no questions, I move adoption by use of the morning roll call.
Questions? Questions? Seeing none, the senators move for use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? No. Present? Hill? Present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seymour, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, please note the two presents, Mr. Clerk. Motion passes by use of the morning roll call. We go to 148 to 152. 148 to 152. 153 to 155. 156, Senator Branning, you're recognized on 156. Senator Jackson, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd like to ask for an excused absence for my desk mate, Warren Burnett, who's attending a funeral at his home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So noted, Mr. Clerk. All right, Senator Branning, we're ready.
I'd like to go to item number 156 on today's calendar, House Bill 4024, and ask the title be read, please.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 424, Memorial Highway, designate segment of Mississippi Highway 44 in Marion County as a T.L. Wallace Memorial Highway.
The motion is going to be that we do adopt the conference report. I'd like to be recognized to explain the conference report.
You're recognized, Senator.
The first thing that we did is we removed the reverse repealer. I think Senator Moran had some questions and he is now satisfied. We have discussed that and he has asked that I do move forward with the bill. We then added a couple of memorial highways that the House wanted to add, that being the Mark Seymour Bridge, which is in Section 4 in Jackson County, as well as the Senator Billy Timms Memorial Highway, which is in Section 5 for Smith County. Those are the changes, and if there are no questions, I move adoption of the conference report on the morning roll call.
Questions? Questions on the motion? Seeing none, we're ready for your motion, Senator.
Passage on the morning roll call.
Senator's requested utilization of the morning roll call. Anyone object to procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Seymour, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, motion passes by use of the morning roll call with the one exception noted, Mr. Clerk. 157, 158. Senator Wiggins, you're recognized. We're on 158.
Thank you, Mr. President. Go to item 158, call that up, ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 550, intermediate driver's license, delete all references to.
Mr. President, my motion will be that we adopt the conference report and be allowed to explain.
You're recognized to explain, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the same bill that we passed. Just to remind you, this was to eliminate the intermediate license, and the changes that when we first passed the bill was to simply have a regular license, and if you're under 18, you had some limits on that. The only difference in the conference report between what we passed and what is in the conference report is that we removed the words recreational around line 169 and 170. When the Senate in committee put in Senator DeBar's amendment, that was to ensure that the kids would be able to drive to extracurricular activities such as sporting events or something. And there was some discussion from the House about would it cause some confusion? So by removing the recreational language, it does the same thing. And with that, that's the explanation of the conference report.
Questions?
My motion would be to adopt the conference report, Mr. President, on the morning roll call.
Senators move to adopt the conference report on the use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present. Seeing none, bill passes by use of the morning roll call. Thank you, Senator. 59. Pass, Moran. 60, 61, 62, 63. Senator DeBar. Pass. 64, 65, 66. Senator Branning. Senator Branning, you're recognized. We're on 166. All those retain their place upon the calendar.
Ask the title be read, please.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 887, Memorial Highway, designate a segment of United States Highway 82 in Webster County as Corporal William Justin Cooper Memorial Highway.
The motion will be that we do adopt the conference report. I'd like to be recognized to explain it.
You're recognized to explain, Senator.
All we did is remove a reverse repealer. I had included that in there to give me more time to be sure that the length of the highway was correct. I have verified that it is in fact actually just under 1 mile, so that sort of fits within what we normally do here. So if there are no questions, my motion is that we do adopt the conference report on the morning roll call.
Questions on the motion? Questions? Seeing none, Senators move to adopt the use of the morning roll call for adoption. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, the bill passes by use of the morning roll call. It's 166, sir. 167 to 173. 173. Anyone? All right. 174 to 176. 177. Senator Bryan, you're recognized.
I ask that the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 1312, State Board of Cosmetology, extend repealer on.
I move that we do adopt the conference report, and I would like to speak on that.
You're recognized to explain the conference report, Senator.
The repealer on the State Board of Cosmetology came up this year. The bill before you removes the repealer. The Cosmetology Board is being sued for some regulations that it has. The regulations are in accordance with state law, but they take a rather expansive view of the cosmetology. The bill before you contains a number of provisions which seem to me very technical in nature, and I don't even suppose it's necessary to say that this is not my area of expertise. But nevertheless, the purpose of the restrictions is to say that there will be certain matters no longer regulated by State Board of Cosmetology, things such as eyebrow threading, I believe. The State Board of Cosmetology supports these changes. The attorney for the State Board of Cosmetology represents that these changes will go a long way in settling the lawsuit. It's my understanding the State Board of Cosmetology would like to have these changes and see if the lawsuit can be settled. So that's what the conference report does. If there are no questions, I suggest adoption of the conference report by use of the morning roll call.
Questions? Seeing none, Senators move for use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Turner forward, no? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, the bill passes with the exception noted. Thank you, Senator. 178, 170.
Thank you, Mr. President.
178, 179, 180. Chair recognizes Senator Whaley for an announcement and an introduction. Senator Whaley, you're recognized for an introduction of a guest. The one standing next to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today we have with us Representative Kincaid from the House.
Yeah. Welcome to the organized body. Senator Butler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to present a resolution out of order, please.
Please proceed. Bring it forward. We'll read the title. While he's doing that, Senator Harkins.
The Finance Committee will meet in room 216 to take up 3 nominations after recess. Room 2.
One moment, please, Senators. We're on 188, I believe, on the calendar. That was Senator Parks. Senator Parks. You're
Thank you, Mr. President. I
recognized.
got item 188, Senate Bill 2313, and ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2313, Mississippi Intercollegiate Athletics, the Compensation Rights Act allow athletes to be compensated for name, image, and likeness.
Motion is adoption of conference report.
Motion is adoption of the copy. You're recognized to explain, Senator.
Thank you. This is the same bill that we passed earlier. Again, this is a bill that is centered around making our universities and colleges competitive with other states. Also, this allows the athlete to be able to be compensated for the name, image, and likeness. It also, this is a bill that has already been passed and will go into effect in Florida June 1st. There are 23 other states that are currently having a bill in their legislative sessions. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Senator Norwood, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Introduction of the resolution on order at the appropriate time, Mr. President.
We'll recognize you right after this, Senator. Any questions on this motion? Any questions? Okay, we're ready for your motion, Senator.
If none, I'd ask for passage on the morning roll call.
Senators requested passage of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Present. Senator Michelle. Present. Senator Turner Ford. Present. Senator Hill. Anyone else? 3 presents. Anyone else? Seeing none other, the bill motion passes by use of the morning roll call. Senator Norwood, have you brought your? Okay, we're ready to read, Mr. Clerk.
A resolution recognizing Dr. Felicia M. Nave as the first female and 20th president of Alcorn State University and congratulating her on the occasion of her inauguration on April 16, 2021. A resolution saluting and extending the congratulations of the Mississippi Senate to 87-year-old blues legend Bobby Rush for winning the 2021 Grammy Award for Best Traditional Blues Album.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We're on 189, 189 to 196. 189 to 196. Any senator to bring up on the calendar? 197 to 203. 197 to 203. All of these retain their place upon the calendar. 204, Senator Polk, you're recognized. Pass. Pass 205, Senator Branning. Pass. General Bill, Senator Polk, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call up item 206. Ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 29, David Charles Johnson, Flowood, Mississippi, Executive Director of the Mississippi Department of Information Technology Services. Term effective November 1st, 2020.
Mr. President, I move that, ask that you allow Senator Hill to explain.
Senator Hill, you're recognized to explain the motion.
Thank you,
Of the
Mr.
bill.
Chairman, Mr. President. This first nomination, 206, is David Charles Johnson of Flowood, Mississippi, as Executive Director of the Mississippi Department of Information Technology Services, effective November 1st, 2020. He has been working with the department for a good while now and has passed a committee, spoke to the committee the other day. We did not find anything in his background that would preclude him from serving in this capacity. So if there are no questions, my motion would be to do advise and consent.
Questions on the nomination? Motion to advise and consent. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Advise and consent be granted. 207, Senator Polk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that call up item 207 to have the title read.
Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 24, Thomas Allen Tom Wicker, Tupelo, Mississippi, Information Technology Services Authority, 5-year term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2025.
Mr. President, I ask you to recognize Senator Hill to explain.
Senator Hill, you're recognized to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a reappointment to the IT board. The committee found nothing that would prevent Mr. Wicker from continuing to serve on the board. Like I said, it's a reappointment. If there are no questions, my motion would be do advise and consent.
Be used to the morning roll call.
Yes, on morning roll call.
Right, and the prior one as well, David Charles Johnson. So Senator has requested use of the morning roll call for 206 and 207. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, use of the morning roll call is granted. Both are approved for advise and consent. Senator Polk, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to take up 208, 209, and 210 in block.
Motion made to take up all 208, 209, 210 in block. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, please read the titles.
Senate nomination number 23, Donald Getty, Don Brown, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Mississippi State Personnel Board to serve the state at large. 5-year term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2025. Senate nomination number 47, Scott Roach Shoemaker, Jackson, Mississippi, Mississippi State Personnel Board, term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2023, representing the 1st Supreme Court District, Vice Greg Moore. Senate nomination number 61, Colonel Nick Paul Ardillo Jr., Columbus, Mississippi, Mississippi State Personnel Board to represent the 3rd Supreme Court District, 5-year term beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2026.
Mr. President, I ask that you recognize Senator Hill to explain.
Senator Hill, you're recognized to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Gady, for the first one on 208, has been highly recommended by our esteemed colleague, Senator Hobson. We spoke with this gentleman in committee, and we found no reason why he should not be able to serve on the State Personnel Board. On number 47, Mr. Shoemaker was on a Zoom meeting with our committee, spoke to the committee, and the committee agreed that he should serve as well. Colonel Ardillo, representing the 3rd Supreme Court District on the State Personnel Board. Again, we found nothing in their background that would prevent them from serving. So if there are no questions and nobody would like any of them to be set aside, my motion would be do advise and consent on the morning roll call.
Any questions? Questions? Seeing none, the senator has moved for a motion to utilization of the morning roll call for adoption. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, all three are adopted by use of the morning roll call. Chairman Carter, pass. Chairman Branning,
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to take up items 212 and 213 in block, please.
motion to take up 212 and 213 in block. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please read the title, Mr. Clerk.
Senate nomination number 45, Gary Mack Grubbs, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Mississippi Motor Vehicle Commission to represent the state at large as Vice Chairman, term effective immediately and runs concurrently with Governor's term of office. Senate nomination number 57, Philip W. Phil Moore, Ridgeland, Mississippi, Mississippi Motor Vehicle Commission to represent the 3rd Congressional District, term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2027.
The motion will be that we do advise and consent on both nominations. I'd like to be recognized to explain.
You're recognized to explain, Senator.
Senate nomination number 45 is Gary Mack Groves from Hattiesburg. This is a new appointment to the Motor Vehicle Commission. No negative information was found in the peer report, and the committee saw fit to bring it to the floor, and I'm happy to answer questions at the appropriate time. I will go to the second one first before we do that. Senate nomination number 57 is Phil Moore of Ridgeland. This is a reappointment. He has served one prior term. No negative information to report there. Happy to yield for questions on either. Otherwise,
Questions? Okay, Senator, we're ready for your motion.
the motion is that we do advise and consent on both nominations on the morning roll call.
Senators requested use of the morning roll call for advise and consent. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, both pass. Senator, you're recognized.
I'd like to go to item 214 on today's calendar, Senate nomination number 53, and have the title read, please.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 53, Larry Wayne Clark, Amory, Mississippi, Mississippi Motor Vehicle Commission to represent the state at large as chairman. Term effective immediately and runs concurrently with the governor's term of office.
The motion will be that we do advise and consent. I'd like to be recognized to explain.
You're recognized to explain, Senator.
Mr. Larry Wayne Clark of Amory has been brought forward to serve on the Mississippi Motor Vehicle Commission. He has served 4 prior terms on the commission and was again nominated by the governor. There were a couple of tax issues that have been revealed by the peer report, but that had been resolved. And I brought this to the committee's attention. We looked at that. I've spoken to the governor about it. I've spoken to Mr. Clark about it. The committee did see fit to forward this nomination to the Senate floor. And with that, I'm happy to yield for questions.
Any questions? Questions? Seeing none, we're ready for your motion, Senator.
I move that we do advise and consent on the morning roll call.
Senator has moved to advise and consent using the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, bill passes by use of the morning roll call. Chairman Younger, pass. 215 to 218, pass. Chairman Barnett, pass. 220 to 21. All retain their place upon the calendar. Chairman Seymour, passes. Chairman Whaley is recognized. We're on 223.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item number 223, Senate nomination number 77. Call it up and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 77, John Scott Cookwood, Cleveland, Mississippi. Commission on Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, 5-year term effective immediately and ending June 30th, 2025, representing the 2nd Congressional District as it existed in 1991.
The motion is that we do advise and consent. I'd like to be recognized to explain.
You're recognized to explain, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate nomination 77 is Mr. John Scott Cookwood of Cleveland, Mississippi. This is a reappointment to the Wildlife Commission. He met with the committee yesterday. We had reviewed the peer report and we found no evidence of anything that was negative. Took several questions from the committee, and if there are no questions, I would move that we do advise and consent.
Okay, any questions? Any questions? Senators move for advise and consent by using the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none, it's unanimous. Mr. Clerk, by use of the morning roll call, Senator DeBar on 224, 225, pass. 226, Senator Branning. Chairman Branning, you're recognized.
I'd like to have the title read, please.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 79, Russell Hanna, Louisville, Mississippi Appeals Board of the Mississippi Transportation Commission. Term beginning immediately upon confirmation by the Senate and ending June 30th, 2023.
The motion will be that we do advise and consent. I'd like to be recognized to explain.
You're recognized to explain.
This will be a new appointment. Mr. Hanna has been brought forward to represent or to serve on the Appeals Board of the Mississippi Transportation Commission by the Department of Revenue. The term will begin immediately upon confirmation and will end June 30th of 2023. No negative information to report on the peer report came before the committee. No questions were raised, and so we felt it necessary to bring it before the Senate for a full vote. And if there are no questions, my motion is that we do advise and consent on the morning roll call.
Senators move for advise and consent utilizing the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to be recorded as voting no? Present? Seeing none. Completed the calendar. Does anyone want to put anything up on the calendar? Senator Carter. Senator Carter, you're recognized.
Mr. President, I ask that we suspend the rules to go back to 211 on the calendar.
Motion made to suspend the rules. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Carter, you're recognized. What was the number, please, sir?
211. Ask that the title be read.
Item 211, Mr. Clerk. Would you please read the title?
Senate nomination number 76, Owen Beaudry Hammer Emerson, Hernando, Mississippi State Oil and Gas Board to represent the 3rd Supreme Court District, 6-year term effective immediately and ending May 7, 2026.
Mr. President, Mr. Emerson came before the committee. He didn't come before the committee, but we vetted him properly, and actually Senator McClendon spoke on his behalf, and I move that we do advise consent.
Questions on the motion to advise consent? Any questions? Seeing none, moves advising consent by use of the morning roll call. Anyone object to the procedure? Wish to record as voting no? Present? Seeing none, approved unanimously by use of the morning roll call. Okay, anyone else on the calendar? Anyone else? Seeing none, Senator Hawkins, you had an announcement on a meeting?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Finance will meet in 2:16, 5 minutes after recess.
5 minutes after recess, Mr. Clerk. Senator Michelle, for an announcement.
Mr. President, at the request of Pro Tem Kirby, I've been asked that we relax the dress code for tomorrow, please.
Permission is granted.
Mr. President, I want to remind members of the Senate, so as to not be confused with a member of the lower chamber, that does not include the wearing of blue jeans.
Thank you, Senator Michelle. Senator Chazanall.
For an announcement, please.
Please proceed, Senator.
On behalf of myself and Senator Boyd, I'm happy to announce that we now have 9 foreign language translations of the self-guided tour of our capital, and we wish to thank the Department of Modern Languages at the University of Mississippi. Our appreciation is extended to Perry Sansing, who is the Special Assistant to the Chancellor for Governmental Affairs. We now have had visitors from every county in Mississippi, every state in the U.S., and from 94 countries around the world. The translations that the Modern Language Department at the University of Mississippi have completed for us are in Arabic, Italian, Portuguese, Chinese, Spanish, German, French, and Japanese and Korean. So this is just to let you know that people are coming to see us.
Very good, Senator. Senator Wiggins, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Glad to be getting back to this. Want to remind everybody that courtesy of the Gulf Coast delegation, we will have the lunch tomorrow, 11:30 to 2 at the Trademark. Thank you to Commissioner Gibson for opening that up for us. You should have received a memo on your desk. That's the annual conference weekend lunch. And the Coast delegation will have a special cake for Chairman Hobson. Thank you.
I don't know whether I'd eat that, Senator. Representative Beckett, you're welcome to the Senate chamber. Senator Hobson, I believe your light is on, Senator. For an announcement.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure I want to introduce him after what he just told me, but I will introduce our friend, Representative Jim Beckett from the House. Thank you.
Don't let him leave till he signs a conference report. Senator Bryan.
I believe it's on the calendar that Public Health and Welfare will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in 2:16, which effectively, I assume, is upon the completion of the Finance Committee. We have some confirmations we need to consider.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since we're introducing our colleagues, I'd like to introduce my counterpart in the House, Representative Randy Boyd.
Randy. Very good to have you here. Other announcements? Mr. Clerk, would you read the announcements, please? Oh, I'm sorry. I saw his light. Senator Blackwell for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to hold on yesterday's calendar House Bill or items number 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 on a motion to reconsider.
1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Would you read the titles, Mr. Clerk?
House Bill number 1333, Town of Weston, authorize the use of low-speed vehicles and golf carts on certain public roads. House Bill 1334, Town of Georgetown, authorized use of low-speed vehicles and golf carts on certain public roads. House Bill number 1435, Lowndes County, authorized contributions to United Way of Lowndes County. House Bill number 1479, City of Macomb, extend date of repeal on hotel motel tourism tax. House Bill number 1500, Holmes County, authorized transfer of funds, property from defunct County Economic Development Authority to County Economic Development District.
Thank you. To the chairman. Senator McMahon, you're recognized for announcement.
Point of order.
Please proceed.
Items 1, 2, and 3 were not taken up yesterday. They could not be reconsidered.
One moment, please. One, 2, and 3 are still on the calendar. I don't think they were taken up. I think that's right. It's on mine too. Still got it on there. Senator McMahon, 1, 2, and 3 were not taken up yesterday or today, for that matter. Okay. Now back to Senator Bryan. Yes, sir. Please, Senator Bryan, you're recognized for announcements.
Mr. President, I've been informed by the House Chair that it would be well to recommit the conference report on House Bill 1312, which is item 177 on today's calendar. That being the case, if I'm recognized for this purpose, I would move the rules be, I would move that the rules be suspended for the immediate consideration of the conference report on House Bill 1312, so that I may enter a motion to reconsider and then move to recommit.
First motion is to suspend the rules. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back to you, Senator.
Mr. President, I move we reconsider the vote by which the conference report on House Bill 1312 was adopted.
Motion is to reconsider the vote by which House bill was adopted. It's just, All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, Senator.
Mr. President, I move that we recommit the conference report on House Bill 1312 for further conference.
Motion is to recommit for further conference. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. Anyone else? Anyone else? Announcements now. Mr. Clerk, I think we're ready. Read the announcements, please.
Finance Committee will meet 5 minutes after recess in room 216. Public Health and Welfare will meet 15 minutes after recess in room 216.
Okay. All right, Senator Blackwell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand in recess until the last conference report is filed, at which time the journal will reflect we are adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Thank you. The President would request all conference reports be filed by 5 o'clock today, if at all possible. You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it.